begin, no shame. I didn't know if I was doing that piece, so it'll make it interesting here. I don't need that. Everybody can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Right. So I'm going to start this with a quote. As long as you think that you are white, there is no hope for you. James Arthur Baldwin, which, you know, that doesn't mean exactly what it might sound like. This is from an essay written by Professor Steve Locke, which had a heavy influence on what I've written herein. That essay, which was on the Good Men Project, which is a cool website, was an explanation from a man who most people would identify as black about why he doesn't want to write about race. And he specifically called out white identified people discuss race instead, saying, plus, whenever white people want to talk about race, they never want to talk about themselves. There needs to be a discussion among people who think of themselves as white. We need to unpack that language, that history, that social position, and see what it really offers them and what it takes away from them. Now, I'm 35, and I went to college at Humboldt State, which is even more liberal than U of O. In some ways, it's very liberal at all. So I've been thinking about all this stuff a long time. I grew up all up and down the West Coast, in Washington, Oregon, California. And I don't think that, when people say race these days, it usually means both like the color of somebody's skin and their ethnic heritage. But I divide them because race is a sort of construct, in my opinion. So, when he's saying there's no hope for you if you think you're white, it's because you're identifying yourself as separate from other humans. In my feeling, is people want to ask me to say, I'm not Italian, I'm not Swedish. I love being Swedish, as you've seen. They're not interchangeable, ethnicity and race, but lots of people make them so. The idea that a pale-skinned human is a different race than a darker-skinned human, that's the problem. If you read Howard Zinn and a lot of other good authors, what I think of right now, the Irish were considered not white back in the day, and then over time, they were kind of given that racial privilege to betray labor unions, this really complicated, deep stuff, which I don't have time to explain tonight. I exist in an interesting intersection of life because I grew up with a progressive mother and progressive circles, but I also really love martial arts and Norse spirituality, and so I hang out with a lot of weightlifters that like to exercise. And they have a stereotype of being meatheads and Republicans, so I kind of hear it both. And so that's always been interesting for me to try and discuss. It's presented some challenges at times, but I think it is no surprise to anyone who knows me that I tend to be outspoken and loud no matter where I am. And, that has meant expressing my opinion that has harmed me in my rise up the ladder, or directly cost me money, and most recently when I've ejected customers from my taxi for saying some pretty terrible stuff. Especially when they got in the taxi and were pulling away from the bouncer who had just kicked their ass, and they felt they were safe then. He'd yell out stuff out the window, and I stopped the taxi and I was, you can get out now. He didn't like that much. I don't know what happened to him. I have white privilege, which is an inflammatory word, I know. Now, has that given me a cushion in telling jobs to fuck off and kicking people out of my taxi and so on? Sure. I'm also big, and the white man, and all of society has told me to be outspoken and to be a leader. That's the message over and over again. And that's also can be problematic because then when I fail, it's all on me. A lot of times, white men in their 50s are the highest suicide rates. In Russia, the Russian Soviet Union collapsed, they all off themselves in large numbers because they didn't have a source of life anymore. They were their work. And they were very important people, and they had a job to do, and then they didn't. I shy away from corporate America because I don't like it, but it also means I don't have any money. So, it's tricky. But I still have all of the side benefits, the whole invisible escalator and such. When you talk about this stuff, it's hard, but I think he's correct that, it's good to talk about.